Migrant.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All righty.
On top BuzzFeed Bloomberg.
55 degrees, partly sun skies.
They're right. The DNA is not in the database. Never thought about it. I'm not talking about that today. That's a good topic.
Because
Investigators say a family dispute prompted the shooter to open
because
fire during a high school hockey game in Rhode
we
Island.
have a fingerprint. So fingerprint, you can't find it. That means DNA won't.
It's like the guy who killed the two girls in Champaign. All right, I love you.
She said the shooter died by suicide. The nation is remembering civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, who has died at the age of 84.
The family of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. called him a servant leader, and though they shared him with the world, his oldest daughter, Santita, told CBS News.
He was always looking left.
But adds,
As a father, he was always present.
Santita Jackson says when he became ill with a rare neurological disorder, people offered comfort to the family.
They would say, I'm praying for your father.
Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Special equipment is being used to try and detect a signal from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. CBS's Andres Gutierrez has more from the Parsons Corporation, which makes
They
it.
ended up releasing a statement this afternoon saying that they were brought in by the Pima County Sheriff as soon as they got word of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. They brought in their trademark Blue Fly units and ended up sending personnel here from Virginia to Arizona to help out with the search.
The mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie disappeared from her Arizona home 17 days ago. CBS is responding to the Late Show host's claim that he was told to scrap an interview with a Texas Democrat who's running for U.S. Senate. Stephen Colbert hit the air Monday night announcing,
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico.
the Late Show host added,
We were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Colbert says it was over fears it would violate the FCC's equal time guidance. CBS says that The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview and was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News. Testimony from a student who was injured when police say a teenager opened fire at a Georgia high school in 2024, killing two students and two teachers.
Afterwards, I started to scream. I was screaming that I got shot. I was yelling at it.
The accused shooter's dad is on trial. Prosecutors say Colin Gray gave his son Colt access to a gun and ammunition despite warning signs. Gray's attorneys say he wasn't told about the planned attack. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4:02 p.m., February 17th, 2026. It's a Tuesday. I hope everybody's doing good. See that weather change real quick. We got to enjoy it when we can. We're going to listen to the news, and then we'll do a little talking, see what's going on, all right? Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Today, I'm Lisa Fielding. We have 54 degrees, cloudy skies, east winds at 9 miles an hour. Could get some rain and thunderstorms tonight, but we're going to be flirting with record temperatures tomorrow. The accurate 5-day forecast coming up at 4:15. But first, flags across Chicago and Illinois will fly at half-staff in tribute to the Reverend Jesse Jackson following his death today at the age of 84. WBBM political editor Jeff Buckholz reports political leaders throughout the state are talking about the Reverend Jackson's life and legacy.
Long live Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Retiring Congressman Danny Davis knew the Reverend Jackson for decades and says beyond his well-known gifts for oratory and activism, he was known for finding common ground among leaders of the civil rights movement.
When he made whatever that statement or comment was, we would know that that's what we were going to do.
Congressman Davis remembered standing with his pastor at the 1984 Democratic National Convention, watching the Reverend Jackson deliver the keynote address.
Reverend Murray said, if this ain't the Holy Ghost, I ain't never seen it.
North Shore Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky recalled working with the Reverend Jackson back in the 80s when she was head of Illinois Public Action, saying she was honored to witness firsthand what she called his unwavering commitment to justice. Governor Pritzker posted that the state, nation, and world are better due to his years of service. Jeff Buckholz, News Radio 1059, WBBM.
And a close friend is also remembering the Reverend Jackson, from marching together in protest of injustice to praying together at the very end. Father Michael Flager looks back on 50 years of friendship.
Father Flager tells us he first met Reverend Jackson at the civil rights leader's home in 1975.
He said, I'm leery about, black people coming in and where they're at and what they stand for and how committed they are. And he said, but you made sense in there.
The pastor of St. Sabina Church in Auburn, Gresham, feels people did not appreciate Jackson for all he did.
There's people that have jobs today because of Reverend Jackson.
Yeah.
There's boardrooms that have African-American CEOs today because of Reverend Jackson. I do not think there was any way Barack Obama would have been president had it not been for Reverend Jackson.
Father Flager says he hopes people honor Jackson's legacy by voting in the midterm elections this fall. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A Westside Health Center bringing quality care to an historically underserved community.
As part of the new Sankofa Village Wellness Center in the city's West Garfield Park neighborhood, Erie Family Health Centers is opening a new 15,000 square foot center to serve nearly 6,000 residents each year. The plan is to provide high quality and affordable medical, dental, and behavioral health care to neighborhood residents regardless of the ability to pay. President and CEO Lee Francis says there's a nearly 20-year life expectancy gap between residents of West Garfield Park and the Loop. Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Chicago police continue to comb through evidence searching for the gunman who wounded a teenage boy near a CTA stop. It happened about 8:30 last night near the Washington and Wabash stop. Officers say the 14-year-old was standing outside when a suspect pulled out a gun and shot him. He was hit in the foot. He was taken to Laurel East Hospital, but he is expected to be okay. Well, the due date is still 2 months away, but an accountant says you should tackle your income tax sooner rather than later this year.
I put the tax forms on top of your to-do pile a month ago.
I have a to-do pile? You don't want to be Homer Simpson when the income tax deadline rolls around on April 15th. Elizabeth Buffardi is the founder of Crescendo Financial Planners in Oak Brook, and she says an early start on your taxes allows you to catch problems with plenty of time to fix them.
And I think that working on this now, even though it's, seems like drudgery, is very useful because then you have a lot of time to make corrections if they need to be made.
She adds if you're due for a refund, you can claim it before a scammer tries to do the same.
Is that it helps to prevent any fraudsters trying to file and claim that refund on your behalf.
Rob Hart, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Lincoln Park Zoo welcoming a new red panda just in time for the Lunar New Year.
A 7-year-old red panda named Chi has arrived to Lincoln Park Zoo from New York's Prospect Park Zoo. Chi is currently adjusting to his new home at Pepper Family Wildlife Center as he gets to know his habitat mate Nisha, who he has a breeding recommendation with through the Red Panda Species Survival Plan. The collaboration among institutions aims to manage the captive population of red pandas. The hope is that Chi and Nisha will have cubs in the future. Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
It is 4:08. Time to check in on the roads, traffic and weather together.
Alrighty, so traffic is traffic, and we know weather's a little colder. I wanted to say this before I forget about the news. Do you see how the news lied today? Did everybody hear how the news lied? I use the news and I listen to the news to get my bearings, but I watch what they say. It was a teen trend. It was a teen trend, and it was a fight between two groups of teens, and one guy pulled a gun and shot the guy. Had nothing to do with the CTA. That shooting had nothing to do with the CTA, zero to do with the CTA. It wasn't even the location. If you listen to the radio calls, I put it up there. That's why I go through the radio calls at night. I didn't sleep last night, by the way. I didn't go to sleep. I was up till 8 in the morning as I was doing that case. That shooting last night had nothing to do with the CTA. Zero. Nothing. Even the cop said that he wasn't even close to it. It was on the street. It was right there. The video is there. Justin from Crime Church is there. And here you got the WBBM News talking about, it had something to do with the CTA. They spent what? That time they were talking about CTA. It wasn't about CTA. It was about a teen trend that got violent. There was a fight, and then somebody shot somebody. That had nothing to do with the CTA. We just heard the WBBM News lying about an incident. Just like that, the news reporter who didn't go public I'm not going to take credit for that. I'm not. But that's what reporting does. Did you know that lady, whatever her name, Leah or whatever it is, she went public and told her story? Well, I don't think she would have did that if there wasn't a story that says they covered it up. We need to start pushing these people. I talked about this yesterday, right? It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility. That's what Reverend Jackson was about. And I'm going to talk about him. I knew Reverend Jackson. I did work over there, a lot of work. He was one of the reasons I got my job in the union, because I did work at his place at Operation Push. I've documented work there with black teachers when they were laid off. Back in 2008, I started working over at Operation Push. I worked there. I was there every Tuesday for almost 2 years. I organized that. I helped do that. Me and a lady called Rosita Chitanda. You can look that up. There ain't no joke about that. Me and Rosita Chitanda and Antoinette Barnes. The three of us. We organized meetings over at Operation Push almost for 2 years to help black displaced teachers. That was me. I did that. Right? People knew Reverend Jackson and said we needed a place to meet. And that's where we met. That's what we did. So that's where I worked, okay? So I knew Reverend Jackson that way and from some other things. And I'm going to say this. First of all, God rest his soul. May he rest in power. He was a good man. Reverend Jackson was a good man. And I'll say this why. Because it's exactly what they just said on the radio show. Right? Like what Flager said. And you might not like certain people, and you might not like what we do or what we say or what she says or he says. It don't matter. It's about being the change agent. And what Reverend Jackson's about, and this is what I'm going to say. It's what Flager just said. He got people jobs. That was his thing. If you ever go back to whatever he used to do, I've been following Reverend Jackson since the 80s, or maybe a little earlier than that. I was a kid in the 70s, not really. It was more in the 80s. I started getting politically active in Chicago. I started getting politically active in the 80s with my dad. I was doing stuff in the 70s with my dad, but I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. But when I started reading and understanding, Reverend Jackson's shtick was, and people call him a race hustler, or that. He's not. I don't put him in the same category as Al Sharpton. Now, Al Sharpton's different because he's from New York. And he does it in New York. You do it a different way. So I don't know how they do things in New York. So New York's a different way. I'm a Chicagoan. I'm not a New Yorker guy. In L.A. and in Miami, in Texas, you have all different ways because you have different power structures. But Reverend Jackson was mostly from Chicago. He was from the South when he was a kid, but he knew how to navigate. He knew how to navigate the power structures that were politics, and especially Chicago, because Chicago. We need to be honest. One of the things that we're experiencing is that they want to break Chicago's power structure. That's what the Chicago teachers doing now. They're destroyers. Chicago Teachers Union doesn't build power. It destroys power. It's a union. It's a union for its members. Always remember that. They're a union membership organization. And you can call them political. You can call them whatever. Their thing is to get power for their members. And some other things, I'll talk about that another time. But let's talk about Reverend Jackson now. He understood the powers. And and this is my opinion only, my opinion from me working at his place, me listening to him, and me watching what he does. And I've had a couple of conversations, small conversations with him. I wasn't his friend. I've had those kind of where I sat at a table with him. I asked him a few questions and he answered. He never had a problem with me. Never had a problem with me. You don't rarely see white people at his place. I was a white person at his place. I could go there whenever I wanted to. I know Reverend Janet Wilson, right? You know her. She's his second in command, Reverend Wilson. So I have her phone number in my thing. I have Jonathan Jackson's cell number in my phone. That's how I know them. Okay. I have Reverend Wilson's phone number in my phone, her cell phone number in my phone. I also have Jonathan Jackson's cell phone in my phone. To this day, I still have it. So that's how I know them, okay? That's what I know in Chicago politics. I was hooked up at once. I'm trying to get unhooked, right? But this is what I'll tell you about Reverend Martin Luther King. Sorry. That's part of it, right? I know that he was with him on the day that Martin Luther King died. So he understands pure racism, pure hatred, right? Assassination. He was there, right? But Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., Sr., knew this. And this is the type of person he was from what I know of working with him. He got, and this is what I discussed yesterday about Brandon Johnson. That's the difference. There's a difference between the two. Reverend Jackson's practical. He understood racism. He was with Martin Luther King Jr. when he got killed. He was there that day. He was there that day that that man was murdered, assassinated, right? For his belief system. And Reverend Jesse Jackson knew that. And what he did is he got what he can for his people. That's who he was. Whether you liked his methods or you didn't like his methods, that's our personal system. I loved Reverend Jackson. I loved the way he spoke. I wish I could speak as good as him. I loved his Dr. Seuss stuff. It was great. I got his speeches. And I think Harold Washington copied some of his stuff. I think Harold Washington copied some of Reverend Jackson's stuff. So you start to hear how I talk. That's how far I go back, okay? I was at places where I heard these people speak when I was a young guy, when I was doing organized, so I understand what they did and how they did. But I'm going to go again. Reverend Jackson's different than Brandon Johnson. Why? Because Reverend Jackson understood racism, right? He understood the harms, the death, and the dangers that people come to, because he's seen his good friend murdered, right? Right there in Memphis, right? Wasn't that Memphis where he got murdered? Martin Luther King. So what did he do? He said he went, and then if there was a company, and that's what Michael Flager just said. If there was a company that set up a company in Chicago, he would go protest them, a car dealership or whatever it was, and say, look, I get it, but give me 10 jobs. You got 100 jobs, or you got 50 jobs, give me 10 jobs. Give me 10 people, give 10 people my jobs. And that's what Michael Flager said. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, right? Michael Flager said exactly what I wanted to say. And I was talking to my wife today and talking about his passing. And by the way, today is a bad day to be a racist on my page. I'm going to tell you that. Those MAGAs don't know. They don't even know how to control their behaviors, man. They can't control their racism. It's unbelievable, some of these MAGAs, man. They think they can do whatever, unless they're bots and they don't know, and it's just a machine running. But some of these MAGAs, man, they're pure racists, man. I don't know, man. I don't even know what I would do if I met one of them on the street. It probably wouldn't be a good day. I might go to prison. Some of this stuff they say on the internet, if I met somebody like that in person, I might go to prison. That's all I got to say, okay? I have no tolerance for racists or Nazis. Zero. None. Not in public. Not in public. Yeah, no. Don't do that around me. Here's a warning to you guys. Don't do racism in front of me in public. Around me. Don't do that. That might not be a good thing for your well-being. That's all I got to tell you, okay? I have zero tolerance for it. So let's get back to Reverend Jackson. He understood that. So he was a practical guy. And he says, look, if that company comes in, Boeing, and they got 1 billion jobs, I want 1 million of them jobs. And give me some money, too. And that's how he fought racism. That's how he fought it. Because he knew he couldn't change the person's mind and his belief system, or even the institution of racism. He knew he couldn't change it. He tried. He did a lot of good work. Reverend Jackson did a lot of good work. He did a lot of good work, really good work over the years. He broke a lot of stuff, but his main thing was his jobs. And this is why I'm saying this. When I took over the teaching at Hyde Park Career Academy, I was the carpentry teacher down there. He was my model for my students. He was my model. I got my students jobs. That Walgreens down there on Stony Island, that one Walgreens, what is that, on 69th and Stony, I think that is, or 70th? But you know that Walgreens down there, right? My students helped build that Walgreens. My students helped build that. And I think it was, she's now, is it Robin Kelly or is it Harris? I don't remember which alderman was down there at the time. I think it might have been Robin Kelly. She's now the state rep, right? I think that was her. I don't know if she was the alderman, whoever was the alderman down there at that time. And I knew all these people at the time, right? I don't know how I got wind of it, the Walgreens or whatever it was. I was involved in a lot of stuff because I was the construction teacher there at Hyde Park. I called the alderman, or she called me. I don't know which one it went that way. And she goes, oh, they got a Walgreens there, blah, blah, blah. They're building this and this. And I don't know if she came to me with the idea of getting jobs or I did. I don't remember now. I can't tell you the details. I have to dig up those emails. Those are 20-year-old emails now, maybe longer. Maybe it was just a phone call at that time. We had phones. We didn't have I don't think we had a cell phone at the time. We might have. I don't remember anymore. And she goes, what can we do, John? What can we do? You got those construction students. They're building that Walgreens down there, down on Stony. That Walgreens down there, my students helped build that. I got pictures of the inside when they were building it. I got other stories about that stuff, too. Walgreens racist, by the way. That's what I wanted to say. Walgreens a racist organization, right? It is. I mean, they hire other nationalities, but it's maybe the contractors were out of. So we talk, and I said, look, I want 10 jobs. And they're like, oh, that's a lot. I said, that ain't that much. At that time, it was $1 million or $2 million projects. I said, look, you got all these damn white contractors there. It's all black down there. You know, down on Stony, it's all black down there on 69. Wherever that Walgreens is, right? I said, you need to hire black people, man. These guys don't have work, especially these teenagers, and they're gangbanging, doing bad stuff. Give them a job, give them some money, and maybe we won't have that many killings over the weekends, right? So I don't remember how many jobs they gave me. I don't think they gave me 10. They might have gave me 5. And those were good jobs at the time. This is back in the 2000. When did I work at Hyde Park? 2004? I started working there. So imagine in 2004, you're a young punk kid in high school, right? And I think I got them $20 an hour at the time. So that's what I did. And that's what I learned from Reverend Jackson. I wanted to say that. I waited to say that on my radio show. I learned that from him. And I have other ways of thinking than him. But I think that's how he was. He was that practical person who said, look, we're not going to defeat racism because you can't change how someone thinks. You cannot. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Now you see me, I argue against the left, and I argue against the right. I keep them equal. Left extremists, right extremists, they're the same to me. And they're both goofballs, right? And they don't know how to think, right? They're not normal, right? They want to manipulate everybody in the world. And I think Reverend Jackson, where he came from, and this is where he gets his bad rap from people or others. I can't generalize for everybody, right? That say he was a race huckster. And you can say, yeah, but I say that's good. There's nothing wrong with doing it. And that's what I talked about yesterday about Brandon Johnson. He's black. He's black. And you come to downtown and you're going to see there's black people that are homeless in our downtown. You go to the west side, you go to the south side, you see boarded up garbage buildings. You see black politicians who put what? There's signs on boarded up buildings. I did that last week. And this is my philosophy. Reverend Jackson knew he couldn't maybe fix that boarded up building, and I did a couple of projects with him on that stuff too. I can talk about that another time, right? But he knew, listen, the guy that's building the building, I can't change him, but I can get my people some jobs. And when they get some jobs, they can change themselves. Listen, When you have economic opportunity, that's the equalizer. And that's my beef, besides others, with Brandon Johnson, is you can tell he doesn't take care of his own people. He might take care of some businesses and some connecteds and all of this stuff, the black elite or the black intellectuals. But he doesn't help the black guy living on the street. He doesn't help the black gangbanger. He made a deal with those black gangbangers down there on 47th Street in December. Remember that? And then they handed out gifts the next day. And I said, that's some bullshit. And guess what? They're shooting each other up again. They shot up a black kid. They just shot up a black kid on he was a 17-year-old, 14-year-old just got shot up down there last night. And then the white media, WBBM, lies about it. That's how they all operate. And that's the realm that Brandon Johnson operates in. He operates in that manipulation realm because he's not a practical person. He doesn't say, what am I going to get from my people and get that guy off the street? He says, I'm going to get some stuff and we're going to change philosophies and we're going to change how they think. Man, fuck those racist motherfuckers. Fuck the Ku Klux Klan. Ku Klux Klan come up on your block, you shoot the motherfucker. You shoot the Ku Klux Klan. That's what you do with those motherfuckers. Got that? You got what you do with a Ku Klux Klan? You shoot them. You don't talk to a Ku Klux Klan. There's no talking with an idiot, racist freak. Got that? You shoot them. Period. If I get banned for this from Facebook, I don't give a fuck. Fuck Facebook too. You shoot the Ku Klux Klan. There is no medicine for a Ku Klux Klan. There is no medicine for them. You shoot them. You got that? They're racist freaks that will never change. They are inbred weirdos that want to harm people because of some weird thing they have in their brain. So you don't have no speaking with those types of people. I'm not a turn the cheek the guy. You got that? I don't think I ever talked this way on my show. I'm not a turn the cheek guy. I'm a Malcolm X guy. That's who I am. They come for us, we go for them. Actually, that's Fred Hampton. They come at us, we come at them. We don't do the turn the cheek stuff, man. That turn the cheek stuff, that might be good stuff, and maybe that's good for philosophies and Mahatma Gandhi's, but that didn't get nobody nowhere, man. Got a lot of people in the coffin. You got a Ku Klux Klan and down your road, man. You make sure you don't let that guy come close to you. That's how you deal with a Ku Klux Klan. Yeah. And Reverend Jackson knew that. He knew that because he was there when Martin Luther King got assassinated. He knew that. So he said, look, am I going to fight these guys and be bloody all my life and end up like Martin Luther King, my buddy, on the terrace there? On the terrace at a hotel, shot, dead? Or am I going to devote my life to getting my people what they need to get themselves to where they want to be? See, that's how he thought. He got black people jobs so they can create their own opportunity. And that's my philosophy. The equalizer in the world is what? When we can pull ourselves out of whatever morass and mess we are. So when I see a homeless guy, or when I see a drug dealer, or a doper, or a gangbanger, or a criminal, I say, why isn't the government creating the conditions so they can pull themselves out of it? Right? Like I say on the west side, why aren't there places where those hookers can be? Why are they sitting on the outside where those killers can be? Why are those people, right? Why are those people dealing drugs on the sidewalks? Right? Why are people being homeless? And this is about all race. Right, there you go. You got a guy right there. Look, you're in the middle of downtown. There was just a shooting here. See that guy right there? Is that a white guy or a black guy? I don't know. I can't see that far. You just had a shooting down the street. A black kid just got shot. The media lied about the black kid getting shot, right? They lied. They said it happened on a CTA when it wasn't. It was a teen trend. Right? That's that. White guy or black guy there. That's a girl, right? That's a white female there, right? She's a drug addict. Why isn't, like I said yesterday, there's the tactical team. That's a TAC team right there. See? Well, crime is down, but you have 2 tactical vehicles there. You see that? Those attack vehicles there. Those are sort cars. They're called sort cars on the radio. Got that? Why isn't the black mayor getting black people jobs? Why do you see these teens trying? Because he don't care about them. He cares about his philosophy. He's about his philosophy and ideology to destroy America. That's because he's brainwashed, right? That's him. Got that? That's it. Does he do black stuff? Does he help black people? Sure he does. But it's not his thinking. It's not his way of thinking. That's what I'm trying to say there, okay? And this is some 430 News. Sorry about my swearing, but at least you get to where I'm at. Some people think I'm a wishy-washy, whatever I am. I ain't that, man. I've been around for a little while. And I know some people and I've done some things, man. I usually don't talk this way on the show because on the radio, you're supposed to be in the middle, right? You're not supposed to be too polarizing and too scary, right? But now that's how I am, man. I don't have tolerance for racists, all right? I tell you that. This is some news.
We're learning more about yesterday's deadly shooting at a youth hockey game in Rhode Island. Plus, police in Arizona say DNA found on a glove near Nancy Guthrie's home came up negative for any matches in the FBI's nationwide database. In business,
I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg. Following a volatile trading session, very modest gains today on Wall Street. The Dow and the Nasdaq both adding 32 points. The Nasdaq up 7.
54 degrees, cloudy skies at 4:31. Friends, family, and leaders both here in Chicago and across the nation remembering the Reverend Jesse Jackson. WBBM's Mallory Vorbroker has more reaction from a man who knew Reverend Jackson as just Dad.
I miss him already, but the world is the better because of him.
That's Illinois Congressman Jonathan Jackson with CBS News Chicago, who spoke about his father, Reverend Jesse Jackson's passing, and how he's just dad to him.
Some people see a political figure, and I just know him as a person that's never gave up on me.
He says his father passed peacefully at home.
The family was around his bedside, so it was very intimate and personal.
The congressman tells CBS News Chicago the civil rights icon was ready.
We're so thankful for his life, and I'm so thankful for this city. The city's been has been tremendous, and the expressions of love have been just overwhelming.
Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Others knew Reverend Jackson as a civil rights icon, a Chicagoan, a voting rights advocate, or as a nonprofit leader. We now look to Chicago leaders, past and present, to remember the lasting legacy Reverend Jackson had on the city.
A city council committee meeting here began with a moment of silence in tribute to Reverend Jackson, presided over by Lakeview Alderman Bennett Lawson.
A true extraordinary Chicagoan who fought for justice and peace and for marginalized people everywhere.
Mayor Brandon Johnson released a statement that in part says he's personally grateful for Reverend Jackson embracing, as he put it, himself and the city with wisdom and guidance. Back in December, he reflected on a visit to see Reverend Jackson.
He just lifted up his fist and got it up to about his shoulder, and it's a moment that, quite frankly, I'll never forget.
Former Mayor Lori Lightfoot says she took note early in her career of the Reverend Jackson's efforts to register voters.
It was something that I studied for sure, and that I admired.
She also described him as generous and welcoming. And former Mayor Rahm Emanuel said Reverend Jackson reminded people in positions of responsibility exactly who they were supposed to be serving. We're at City Hall. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059, WBBM.
4:33, fasting for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan begins tomorrow, and a Chicago nonprofit is spending the day addressing what leaders say is a critical need.
Today is a pre-Ramadan food distribution.
We chat with Anya Kazmi, area manager for the Islamic Circle of North America Relief's Chicago chapter, inside their North Side headquarters, while outside, hundreds of families wait in a winding line.
This is such an important month coming, and people are fasting, and they don't want any shortages in terms of food.
The nonprofit has been hosting the giveaway for a number of years, focusing on items like rice, dates, and other Ramadan staples that are sometimes hard to find at area food pantries.
I have seen people standing in lines, whether it's summer, whether it's snow, whether it's raining. The need is real. Food scarcity is there. To step up for our neighbors is what Ignite is doing.
On the North Side, Andy Dane, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
On Rhode Island, where we're learning more about the gunman and the victims of that ice rink attack, Pawtucket police officers say the person who opened fire during a youth hockey game killed his ex-wife and one son. The shooter injured 3 others. Among them was his former in-laws and a family friend. Investigators are still trying to figure out what led up to the shooting, who was targeted, and why. The shooting came.
You know why? He was a transgender, mentally decrepit killer. Just like that other shooter was transgender in Canada. That guy was transgender there. He was transgender. He's a mentally ill person. He should be locked up. They need to investigate all these transgenders because they're doing these killings. That guy was transgender, that ice hockey thing. He's transgender. Yeah, that's what we do on SubX. We tell the truth. He was transgender, like the Canadian killer.
Evidence is not useless at this point. It will stay in their system. Eventually, there may be someone down the road who gets arrested and perhaps they get a hit. But the more viable option now is that they have this DNA, is that they will work with genealogy companies, and perhaps there could be a possible break here like there was in the Brian Koberger case. And remember, in that case, there wasn't a break or an arrest made until a month and a half after the crime was committed. So we'll see how it all plays out this time around.
Investigators are also attempting to locate Guthrie's heart pacemaker and are working with the manufacturer and experts in the field. CBS is responding to the Late Show host Stephen Colbert's claim that an interview with a Democratic representative who is running for U.S. Senate was pulled from their air. Stephen Colbert hit the air Monday night announcing,
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico.
The Late Show host added,
We were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Colbert says it was over fears it would violate the FCC's equal time guidance. CBS says that The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview and was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
When you find yourself betting and thinking about gambling all the time.
So you hear, and I don't want to say nothing about WBBM, the channel we're listening to, right, is CBS, I think, aren't they? So they... you can like Stephen Colbert or not, tell him you can't interview somebody. You know, that's starting to be some censorship. And guess what? They're left. So it's left censorship, right? You got left censorship, right censorship. And that's the point that we need to start talking about. Like, when are we going to get back to normal? And I hate to bring in Reverend Jackson again. I don't care about racism. I could care less. If you're a racist, you stay the hell away from me. Give me 10 of those jobs. And that's the end of that story about Walgreens. I got 10 jobs for my students. That's the end of that story. And they were racist on that job site. They did Ku Klux Klan stuff there. They put KKK. I got the pictures to this day. They were racist. It was a racist contractor who hated my students. But guess what? My students worked there. I made the complaints with the Department of Labor. And I said, don't bother my students. You let them do whatever you want. If you don't want them to work, then they're going to sit in the office and you're going to pay them. If you don't want them to work. And guess what? All those students that worked on that job site, they're doing just fine today. That was a great lesson for them. I had one kid, he says, man, I don't want to go back there. Those are some racists. They put a noose up or something inside the washroom. Yeah, it was bad. Those are some Ku Klux Klan motherfuckers from Indiana. That's who those guys were. You know, everybody knows Ku Klux Klan came from Indiana, right? I said, you know, you take pictures, you tell me what they do. And if you know who did it, then they were sneaky. They were that sneaky. They were the sneaky Ku Klux Klan. They didn't say they were Ku Klux Klan. They were sneaking around in the dark, right? When you were sleeping, Ku Klux Klan jagoffs. Those kinds of Ku Klux Klan. I said, you find out who it is, you tell me. And they would give me the pictures and what they did and all that. But they're sneaky type. And I said, we put it in. It got a little better. They worked, I don't know how many weeks or months, whatever they worked there. And in the end, my students would tell me, you know what, Dr. Kugler, I don't even know I had a doctor at that time. I might not have had a doctorate. I might not have been a doctor at that time. I said, Kugler, you're right. I made a lot of money, thank you. Got that? And that was the lesson in that. That's Reverend Jackson's lesson to me, right? Thank you for the money. And you walk away and you go home. And you deal with your family and you raise your family how you want. It's like that other thing that came on today with that Muslim stuff, the Sharias and Habibs or whatever you call them. I got attacked because we wrote an article about Japan, how Japan is banning Muslims. And Japan has a different law there. You know, first of all, Japan's a different country and it's a lot older than America. So you're trying to tell Japan what to do. And secondly, then when we write an article, the Muslims come after me telling me I'm this and that. First of all, my wife is Japanese, my brothers and sisters, and I ain't Muslim and neither she is. And we can write whatever we want to write. And this is the way you go with the Muslim stuff. If you have a house, I got my house, and you come to my house, and I have certain traditions at my house, and I invite you to my house, you're not going to come to my house and tell me what I'm going to do and not going to do in my house. That's it. Get out. Get out. Simple. So these Muslims, I have a lot of Muslim friends. I've known Muslims since I've been a kid. They used to live in my house. I'll tell you guys that story another time. I've known Muslims and prayers since I've been a kid, 10 years old. I ain't got a problem with Muslim people. I ain't got one lick of a problem. My best family friend is Muslim. Got that? The best family friend of my family, of the Kuglers, okay? And I'll tell you the last one, Matajis. We are the best family friends. Best for over 50 years. 50 years. When it was not appropriate or not whatever to be with Muslims. There you go. There's some black people homeless. There you go. You want to see black people? There you go. That's how you know Brandon Johnson's not like Reverend Jesse Jackson. There you go. You see black people in the cardboard there? Those are black people. Got that? Like that? Reverend Jackson wouldn't let that happen. Got that? Brandon Johnson does. So this Muslim question is that if you come to our country or our society or our culture, you don't have a right to dictate to me what you're going to do. It's like my house. You're not going to come to my house and you're not going to rearrange my pictures. You're not going to tell me you don't want to look at a cross or you don't want to see this or you don't want to see that or you don't want to see this. And then you're not going to stop me in the middle of my dinner and go disrupt my dinner time. It's like the vegans. The vegans are the same damn way. The vegans, the vegetarians, they're the same damn way. That's Jackson Potter. They're extremists. Oh, what are you cooking? I'm a vegan. I don't care if you don't like it, then don't come into my house. If you don't like Christianity, then why do you come to America? Well, the article touches on that when we wrote. Because they're missionaries. They want to overthrow our societies. And they co-opted some of these organizations like the Teachers Union to be dead. Since the Teachers Union in Chicago, the leadership are anti-American, Muslims are anti-American, and they connect. They're friends. They're buddies, right? It's like a cocaine dealer and a weed dealer. And they're both drug dealers, right? So they both might deal together, but the weed dealer and the weed dealer might not get together because they deal the same thing. So they might not be friends. You kind of get where I'm going with this here? So when you have a terrorist organization like Chicago Teachers Union leadership that's hooked up with Bill Ayers, then they're going to hook up with Hezbollah. They might hook up with Hamas, and you've seen those Hamas flags on the college campuses, and now it's coming out, right? Trump is not forgetting that, right? He's going after those schools that facilitate terrorism against their own students, against their own Jewish students. They allowed Hamas and all of those to be on their campuses after they massacred Jews on October 7th. So, yeah, I know some things. You know, that's my job. I'm a news reporter, right? And I have certain belief systems, right? I believe in inclusion. I believe in freedom of whatever the heck you want to do. But when you start imposing your freedoms on my freedom, then it's not freedom anymore. Then it's you trying to tell me what to do and how to live my life. So if you come into Texas or you come into Japan or you come into New York and now you're having prayer vigils and you're having disruptions of the day in our society, I think that's wrong. Because again, you're coming to our country and you're visiting our country. Look, I told you, I could care less if you want to be Muslim or Buddhist or Christian, whatever you want to be. That has nothing to do with me. Zero to do with me. I live in my house and I go to sleep in my house and I worship the way I want to worship. But when you start imposing what you want on me and how I have to live my life, imagine the prison system adjusts their diets to Muslims in our society, in our state. How bizarre you must be. So that means if you come to dinner and I don't have your food, you're going to tell me I had to cook for you special. That's the definition of oppression. It's like when the thief, when the criminal is robbing you. He's got a gun. He's got you already. He's got the advantage. And he says beg, or whatever he does, right? Why beg? He's already got the upper hand. You either can get him or you don't get him. Ain't no reason to beg. That's just a power kick. That's the same thing with these Muslims that come in. They tell you they're in jail and they say they need a special meal. You tell them, get lost, don't eat. Go on a fast. You don't want to eat pork, too bad. This is a Christian country, right? Last I checked. I ain't saying Christians are good. I ain't saying Christians are bad. I ain't saying it's a great thing. But when you come to somebody's house, into their society, into their culture, and you want to destroy it, then that's a problem. And that comes me to that last point, what I want to talk about. I don't know if you heard my wife before she was leaving the car. The DNA with this lady, Guthrie, or whatever she's kidnapped. That is the problem with these illegals. We don't know who the hell they are. They're not in our databases. They have no birth certificates. They have no identities. In fact, two water polo girls that were murdered, killed by an illegal who had an illegal ID. Alexi Janulius gave that dude an illegal ID, and then the Texas Border Patrol figured out who he was because Illinois gave him an illegal ID with a wrong name. He wasn't really from Mexico. He was from Guatemala. So he tricked our own country. So these illegals, we don't even know who the heck these guys are and women are. We have no clue. I have a guy, I had him in my car. I did an interview with him. I'll pull the interview out. They don't even know these kids that beg on the streets if those are their kids. We don't know that. Those are trafficked kids. You know, they sell children in those societies. They're not like us. They're not normal. They don't look at human beings as humans. They look at them as a meal ticket. Everybody knows that. If you go to some parts of Asia, the human life has no, it has a value, it has a number on it. It doesn't have a humanity on it. They don't have humanity in them. Don't you see how they treat each other? You haven't seen that yet? That's why they call it third world people. They're not like us. Well, we respect each other. We respect each other's humanity. We think about each other. We think about how we're going to get better in our lives, how we can help the other person to be better. They don't think that way, man. They're at the lowest level of survival, man. That's where they come from. And that's what I wanted to say. That's the other part of that immigration thing, right? The integration thing, the assimilation thing, like Reverend Jackson. It's all together, right? We have to be realistic as a society. And when we have people like Brandon Johnson and they're running our city, we need to get rid of that guy. And waiting for that election is not a good thing. We should have sit-ins. We should have lawsuits. We should do whatever we can to remove that guy from power. No violence. Don't use violence. Don't do that. But you need to do things that are political for political people to pressure them to be out of office. That guy is a danger because he's hooked up with terrorists. Brandon Johnson's a terrorist. That's why he's not like Reverend Jackson. Brandon believes in philosophy and ideology, and it has nothing to do with blacks. He uses the black issue as a stepping stone to the power that he wants. It has nothing to do with equality. It has nothing to do with equity. It has nothing to do with bringing up black people. Zero. Because if it did, you wouldn't see black people on downtown streets, and you wouldn't see black teenagers getting shot, which the BBM just lied about, right? If you knew black kids were in danger of being shot, then why did you let them have a teen trend again last night? Why did the cops let them fight? Think about this. It's the second time this happened. The last teen trend, the same thing happened. The same thing. It was on tape. The crime chaser, Justin, said, he goes, they let them fight. He said the cops let them fight. What have we been saying for months now? Have a curfew. Don't let them do that. Don't let them congregate. They look like they got a gun. Search them. Take their masks off. So think about this. Brandon says ICE people can't wear masks, but he lets these young Kia boys run around with masks all over. Kind of weird, isn't it? He wants to disarm the police. He wants to disarm the regular citizens, but allow maybe criminally intent young people to run around and do stuff, and then it ends up getting one or two of them shot. Last time a guy got killed. This time a kid got shot. Could have got worse. Think about it. Why did a black man allow black teenagers to congregate on one of the beautifulest days of the year? And then it ends up, they get into a fight, they let them get into a fight, and then somehow one gets shot. That was a black man that did that. A black dude did that. The black dude was Brandon Johnson and Superintendent Snelling. You ever hear of Reverend Jackson having a protest where one of his people got hurt? Have you ever heard of that? Look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't think he did that style. I mean, he did protests. He did sit-ins. He blocked Michigan Avenue. Remember, Gary McCarthy lost his job, the last superintendent, because of Reverend Jackson's Black Friday events. Don't you remember that? That was on Michigan Avenue. That was with Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel said, oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. Monday morning, he said, you're fired. Because why? The white businessman called up Rahm Emanuel, said, man, Reverend Jackson's down here on Michigan Avenue, and that man don't play. He's about the money. Reverend Jackson, again, he was about the money. That was the equalizer. Had nothing to do with your color of your skin. The money is the equalizer. Because why? The money gets you to what? Your opportunity to pull yourself out of whatever you were at. That's his speech. Keep hope alive. That's what he talks about in his speech. Pull yourself out. He was born to what? A single mother in a shithole slum, wasn't he? Didn't he talk about that in his speech? I posted his speech. Listen to that speech. It's a great speech. It's one of the best speeches around. You listen to that one. Hope. Opportunity. That's the equalizer. And not you getting the money and then pretending to give a needle or a crack pipe to a crackhead. That ain't how you fix crack, man. That ain't how you fix drug addicts. You don't do it that way. That's ridiculous. Or giving tents to the homeless while you got a $70,000 job or a $200,000 job as the deputy commissioner of homelessness. Right. I got my $200,000 job, and I'm going to give you a tent to sleep under the bridge. That's what they've been doing, right? Isn't that what they've been doing? The whole 3 years of his administration? Yeah, Brandon Johnson's been mayor 3 years. Ain't nothing changed. You're going to see some changes this year. You'll see. There might not be any people living on the streets in the next few months. You might see that. Maybe not. I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll see. So those are the differences. That's what I had to say. I might listen to some radio calls. I don't want to go too far off my tangents. Opportunity is the best equalizer. And if people don't like somebody, then you tell them, you might not like me, but I'm going to work here and I'm going to make my money and I'm going to go home and take care of my family. I'm going to raise my family the way I want to, not the way you think I should raise my family. I want to believe in Jesus Christ. I want to be a Christian. Right? I want to do this. I want to do that. You don't like blacks? I don't care. I leave you alone. You don't like Asians? I leave you alone. You don't like Hispanics? I leave you alone. Who cares? Who cares? See, that's Brandon Johnson. If you listen to his speeches, you listen to how he talks. He wants to force people to do things that are unnatural. And I talked about that. He's a person that's a very dangerous individual because he's brainwashed. He's brainwashed by that ideology stuff, and now he's a mayor that has a lot of tools and a lot of money, and it's a very dangerous place because you don't know who he's hiring. You can know who Brandon Johnson is, but you don't know who else he's hiring down there. There's 50 to 100,000 jobs in the city, maybe more, and vendors. You don't know who all those people are. Remember what I said, and I'll leave it with this. And I talked about this a few days ago when they were talking about Oak Park. They got this, they talked about it in the DuSable Museum. They had the Ku Klux Klan outfit down there. When that young man was talking about that exhibit, the Ku Klux Klan exhibit over at DuSable Museum, you know what he said? The worst Ku Klux Klan racists were Oak Park. You know who elected Brandon Johnson? You know where he got most of his votes? Oak Park. I know the racist white ladies that helped organize him getting elected. They're racist, white, liberal women. Michelle Gunderson and Noreen Gutekunst. You can't get more racist than them two people. They're the ones who helped organize the whites to get Brandon elected. Jason Lee was his street man with Dana and the other guy, Frank. I know all these people. I know everything how it happened. Jason was the money guy. He knew the guys that got down the street because he was a young kid and he can do that. And Dana and the other guy, I forget what the other guy's name was. It was two guys, street guys. Michael Ballin had to go to the bank and cash the checks because they didn't even have bank accounts and they would distribute cash though. The reason I'm telling you is this. The reason we have issues with Brandon Johnson and we have issues in the city is because he's not the person he he's not the person he expects people to think he is. It's kind of a convoluted word of what I just said. People expect him, because that's what we expect in Chicago. People to be tough, people to take care of our city, people to do things that are right. And there's a little cronyism and corruption there. We understand that. We understand that. But he's not that. He's none of that. And he ain't no Harold Washington. Absolutely not. He never will be. He never will be a Harold Washington. Never. Ever. Ever. He might come close to Reverend Jackson. Maybe. Maybe. But I doubt it. Because he's too greedy. Brandon's too greedy and too selfish. That's his problem. Alrighty. That's about all I got on that topic. My throat is getting a little hoarse. That's just some news. And that's it. I had to say that. I had to get that off my chest. Again, I knew Reverend Jackson a certain way, working with him and working at his place. I was on those, I even was on that, what did I have, Saturday or Sunday broadcast? I think I did one or two of those broadcasts there one time. It's 20 years ago, so I know the place. It's a good place. He's a good man. He did good things. I like Jonathan. Jonathan's a good guy. He's a businessman. I did a lot of good things with Jonathan Jackson, too. And the other kids, I don't know the other kids, you know. Buying Michael Jackson capes. Fake Michael Jackson capes. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know what wrong. I don't know what happened to his kid, why he went that way, but hey, that's the way life goes, man. I got 4 kids. They all have different personalities, right? You don't know how your kids, what they do, right? So I don't blame the father for what the kids do, right? That's it. And then the father was still good. He took his kid in, right? So That's what you gotta do. You gotta love our children, right? We no matter how they do their things and do their things, except when they get to be weird like they do now lately on the transgender killer ones, right? We need to figure that one out. That's the biggest thing I think we have an issue with now, is that people are confused and they're mentally deranged to believe they can do whatever they want in society, and you can't. Society is a certain way, just like a family. And if you don't like the family, then you need to leave the family and go and do your own thing. Our country is the way it is, and that's the way it is. And we can change it and we can make it better. But if you don't like it here, then you need to get out. And like I said about those migrants, that's the biggest issue we have right now. It's bigger than racism. The migrant issue is the bigger thing than racism. Why? We don't know who these people are. And some of them are extremely dangerous. And they don't believe in our society. They don't believe in the American way. They never will. They'll never assimilate. And we need to think about how we're going to take care of that. And I don't think we're going to deport 20 to 30 million of them that quick. So we need to have another thing. And I've been talking to my wife, and we're going to write a paper on that. Because me and my wife are both immigrants. So we're going to write up a paper on what we think should be done with those migrants. Because we can't deport all of them. We need to figure out what to do with them, okay? All right, let's listen to some news.
Tina Gonsalves says they've been reviewing video and
we have individuals working in another state with the FBI trying to assist Pawtucket in search warrants that we have ongoing right now.
The shooter also injured 3 people. Among them, Gonsalves says, was the shooter's ex-wife's parents and a family friend. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Police have arrested a man with a shotgun running toward the U.S. Capitol building. Police Chief Michael Sullivan.
This individual was challenged by United States Capitol police officers and ordered to drop the weapon, which he did comply with. He laid down the weapon and then laid down on the ground and was taken into custody by our United States Capitol police officers.
The suspect is 18. DNA found in a glove near Nancy Guthrie's Arizona home is providing no easy ID of a suspect in her disappearance. CBS's Anna Schechter explains.
The DNA on the gloves found 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home was entered into CODIS database maintained by the FBI of anyone who's submitted a DNA swab as part of an arrest or a conviction proceeding. There was no match.
Police believe the glove belonged to a masked person seen on doorbell camera video around the time Guthrie disappeared. The nation is remembering civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, who has died at the age of 84.
Thank you for the meaning of his life.
That's Democratic Illinois Congressman Jonathan Jackson, one of Reverend Jackson's sons.
Thank you for the love that he shared. An example he set.
Veteran Democratic Illinois Congressman Danny Davis says Chicago has become a center of the universe, pointing to the people of different economic backgrounds coming together.
You can't have that without the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Iran and the U.S. have agreed to guiding principles as they work toward a broader deal to put limits on Iran's nuclear program. Iran's foreign minister says it was the result of indirect talks between the two sides in Geneva today. In New Orleans, rows of parade goers line the streets to celebrate Mardi Gras, also known as Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras falls on the day before Ash Wednesday. The Big Bash marks the end of carnival season and a final chance for indulgence and revelry before the Christian Lenten period begins. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face.
Christians! Got it? We live in a Christian country. You like it or not, that's our country. That's it. We live in a Christian country. Don't bring your other crap here, right? That's it. That's all I got to say on that subject.
5:03. It is Tuesday, the 17th day of February. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in and joining us today. I'm Lisa Fielding. We have 52 degrees. East winds at 9 miles an hour. Could get some rain and thunderstorms tonight, but setting up for a near record temperature tomorrow. The AccuWeather 5-day forecast coming up at 5:15. But first at 5, we continue to remember the life and lasting legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Friends, loved ones, and current and former elected leaders all continue to reflect upon his impact on the world. WBBM political editor Jeff Buckholz reports on his run for the Democratic nomination for president of the U.S. back in the 80s.
Retiring Congressman Danny Davis remembers being at the Moscone Center in San Francisco in 1984 for the Reverend Jesse Jackson speech before the Democratic National Convention.
No grave can hold our body down. Our time has come.
When he finished the speech, people, they didn't know whether to shout. They didn't know whether to cry.
Congressman Davis says the Reverend Jackson helped cement Chicago's reputation as a center of social activism.
You can't have that without the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
Many other members of Congress are sharing tributes on social media as well, including North Shore Democrat Jen Schakowsky, saying that her dear friend, these are her words, devoted his entire life to fighting for dignity, equality, and opportunity for all. Governor Pritzker has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in tribute, calling the Reverend Jackson a giant of the civil rights movement. Jeff Buckholz, News Radio 105.9. WBBM.
Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot remembering the late Reverend Jackson as well. She says she wants to thank the leader for his generosity, mentorship, and years of friendship.
I am grateful for the life that he lived and the legacy that he shared with all of us, the baton that's been passed, but also mourning his passing as many, many others around the world are doing.
Online, she went on to say in part that words are not adequate to fully capture the essence of Reverend Jackson, from his iconic leadership to being a strategist extraordinaire. It is 5:05. In other news, a Chicago neighborhood faced with historic disinvestment is getting a new health center.
West Garfield Park residents have a life expectancy of just 69 years. That's nearly
where we're
20
going,
years
Garfield
less
Park.
than Chicago Loop residents. To help increase that number, Erie Family Health Centers is opening a new 15,000 square foot center located inside the Sancova Village Wellness Center, located on Madison on the west side. The new health center will provide primary medical, dental, and behavioral health care to all, regardless of ability to pay, and will serve nearly 6,000 residents annually. Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Chicago police looking for the person who shot and killed a woman on the city's south side. It happened near 134th and South St. Lawrence Avenue. The unknown woman was shot multiple times. She died shortly after police arrived. Police are working to identify her. New figures from the state show that cannabis sales fell by 13% last year.
Revenue from recreational cannabis sales fell, while the number of items sold went up. The Tribune reports that's due to lower prices, which were about $400 an ounce when legal sales started in the state in 2020 and are now about $167 an ounce. The Cannabis Equity Illinois Coalition blames competition from hemp, as well as taxes and security requirements for dispensaries and growing facilities. The number of dispensaries continues to grow, with 216 registered in the state as of December. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A new resident at the Lincoln Park Zoo.
Lincoln Park Zoo is welcoming 7-year-old Chi, who is currently adjusting to his new home. He comes from New York's Prospect Park Zoo and can be seen intermittently while he gets...
So weed sales are going down, just like gambling goes down. It's not gambling, weed, prostitution, none of that stuff. It's a vice. It's not an industry. And I know I got brothers, I got people that are in the weed industry, and I get it. But it's not something to put your head on. We need to create jobs, real jobs. That's what we need to do.
Packaging is a Chicago Skyline debit card. Current card holders can still use those cards until they expire, but new ones will not be issued. As it stands, Chicago is the only market in the country where Chase offers a debit card featuring the local Skyline. It's 5:08. I'm checking on the roads, traffic and weather together on the 8th. How are things moving, Lisa?
Let's listen to some radio calls, right? Let's see, because I didn't hear about that lady getting killed, so God rest her soul, right?
The Kennedy Happy from the River Road Toll Plaza all the way to
Let's do some radio calls. We do what we do.
From the junction. Outbound, it's 41 minutes to get you to O'Hare.
I'll say this. Put a little candle out for the Reverend Jackson and his family, right? They're going through grief now, so say a little prayer for him too. I'm sure he's up in heaven. Reverend Jackson's in heaven. That man's in heaven, so that's how you get to heaven. You be like him. That's the kind of life you need to lead. I wish it could be half as good as that guy. It's just some radio calls, right?
Logo. Alright, that is. Yep, that is 08604.
08604.
84 Charlie David. 84 Charlie. Right emission from 95th to Logo. Alright, that is 08614.
7383 Adam.
73 Adam.
91 for 95th in the red upper.
Yep, that is 08620.
7387 Charlie.
Blue line at Irving Park, please, a number. Yep, that is 08625. 7 David. 383 Charlie. 7 Charlie. 147th red line. Yep, that one is 08637.
1012 units in 10 as well as the citywide getting a panic alarm. Panic alarm over at 4351 West Thermac. 4351 West Thermac Road. This is for St. Mary's Gas Mart. Panic with nothing further. This is Zone 10 with Claire.
F16 David. 76 David. F16 Chicago Avenue red line. Okay, that is 08641. David.
Who's that number for the Crimson Blue Line?
Alright, that is 08661.
4734.
4734, sir. Good afternoon.
7383 boy.
780 boy.
Can I get a bid number 79 to number 9?
Alright, that is 08691. Alright, also there, use caution, 95 and Perry, northbound to Perry from 95th, 6th District just had a vehicle take off of them that is stolen. It's going to be a white Kia Optima, plate of Queen 498276, occupied 4 times, all masked up. The car is straight steel out of Woodridge. Again, last seen northbound to Perry from 95th.
There you go, Madison Avenue.
7373. 7373. And number 69 red line. Yeah, that is 08709.
387 Adam.
787 now.
Please give me the number for the blue line at Rosemont.
Yep, that is 08735. 7386 boy. 786 boy. Parking lake from Lynn. Yep, that is 08746.
7386 Adam.
7867.
1 for the Jackson in red, please.
Yep, that is 08753.
That's what thanks.
Charlie. 788 Charlie. Yes, can we get a Clinton Blue Line check, please? Yep, that is 08766. David. 783 David.
Check your merchandise mark, and I'll put it down on smoke emission for 7393.
All right, Timber. Your check is going to be 08777, And then the mission number will be 08780. 08780.
738980.
78980.
Event number for Roosevelt Red Line platform.
Right, that is 08791.
737 Charlie. Blue line at Fine Post.
87 Charlie, that is 08798. David.
Let me show you something. Right? Let me show you guys something. Right?
Check, that is 08808.
So you got that new building there. This is the west side. We're on Madison Avenue, right?
794 boy.
Let me get a red light check at St. Lake, please.
Yep, that is 08815. 08815.
You got this beautiful, beautiful building here, right? But yeah, you got the people that hang outside. Why? It must not be inviting to them that are outside. You got that? See the beautiful building? It's a beautiful building. It's brand new, and you still got people hanging outside. You see that there? So that means that building is not providing the services for those people. Got that? See that there? See that? People still hanging outside, doing their drug deals, doing whatever. Whatever they're doing, right? They're there. That's that. But if you have a new building, why aren't you using that building to get them people off the street? We're going to do a little turn here. This is a dangerous block. I don't like going down this block, but I need to make a U-turn here. They pointed a laser beam at me here. They tried to shoot me once over here. I don't like this block. I really don't like this block, but we're going to go this way. Don't turn left on this block here. It's a bad block. I don't like this one, man. Monroe and Keeler. I don't like. Oh man, yeah. Man, I shouldn't have turned there, right? I really don't like this block at all. 0. But the reason I came around is you see the people all hanging out. You can say, oh, it's their fault. That's how they are, man. It's a really dirty block. But now we're going to come up on the back end of this building. This is a brand new building. It's brand new. It's not old. It's brand new. I've been around here, right? Watch them build this. So, and you have all these people. Look at all the dirt and debris all around it, right? It's a brand new building, right? You got people hanging all around there doing whatever they're doing, right? You got debris here. You got all the... So the new building doesn't clean up the block. It just... They build it and that's it. You see that there? There you go. That dude's jacked up right there. See that guy? He's jacked up, man. He's zombied out. That dude's a zombie right there, right? Gotta watch my back. They kill people here if you hang around too long in certain areas, right? I'm not being able to use my thing yet, so we're gonna do it this. We're gonna do it a different way. I'm having trouble with Twitter right now. There you go. It's 5:18 p.m. We're on the west side here. We're on Madison, and I don't know what this cross street here. Madison and Kildare. And so you see, that's a brand new building here. These are one of those developments that the Brandon Johnson gives hundreds of millions of dollars to, if not billions of dollars to. You see that guy there? He's jacked up. That dude's jacked up. He's been standing there for a long time. He's not in the building. The building is there. There's people inside the building. This is the west side. So you have a brand new building that we spent all of our tax dollars and tips and all that fancy crap that they give away and steal from us. But yet you still had the dude doing drugs hanging out on the outside of the building. He's not inside of the building. He's not being taken care of. He's not being helped. Even if he's doing drugs, why ain't he in the building being safe from being outside in the elements? They kill people in this. This is a kill zone there in this area. We're close to Laverne down the road, right? We just came from Springfield. They kill people in this area. On Keeler, that's a bad block behind us. And then the second thing is that you see how messy it is all around here, right? So this misnomer that if you give away money to your crony operations, it's gonna fix it. It don't. What you have to do is give people economic opportunity, right? Here, let me show you. Let me show you this, right? There's a whole bunch of people right there, man. They're all hanging out right there, right? There's a whole bunch of people hanging right there. You can see them as we turn. So, giving crony contractors money so they build fancy buildings don't fix the west side. See, there's people hanging out right there. There's people hanging out right there. It don't help nobody. At no time, there's people working in that building. There's offices and suites in there. And so all it does is do what? We showed you guys this before. Those NGOs where there's shootings, they don't help those kids in those neighborhoods because it's 95 NGOs. They just do that for their salaries. Just like the people who give tents out to homeless. The person who's giving the tent out to the homeless is making 70 grand. They should eliminate that $70,000 job and just give that to the homeless guy and let him figure out to get a house. How about that one? There you go. SubX.News, West Side. Development don't do nothing out here. It's just a giveaway of our tax dollars. There you go. Let's see if the girls are working out here, right? I don't know. I'm having trouble with my Twitter account today, but whatever. Spending money on crony contracts out here on the west side don't fix nothing. 5:18 p.m., February 17th, 2026. And see, what somebody might say is, John, you just said that's what Reverend Jackson did. He said, give me that. No, Reverend Jackson said, Reverend Jackson didn't say, give me money. He said, give me jobs. There's a difference. How many of those jobs to build that project were given to the people in this neighborhood? That's what I did, and that's what I said. I learned that from Reverend Jackson. What did I do with the Walgreens? I said, you need to give my kids the jobs. Wow, look at that. We got a housing crisis here. What housing crisis do we got? We don't got no housing crisis. We got a crony, right? Operation. There you go. All right. See that abandoned building there?
Fled into 220 South on the second floor.
Oh, yeah.
7383 at work.
730.
Close down the red line, please.
Yep, that is 09217.
7388, boy.
788, boy.
Take that number for us, please.
Blue Line Western.
Yep, that is 09249.
There you go. Kilbourne and Wilcox. Chicago don't have a housing issue. They have a fix what we got issue, right? And a crony issue. Only crony contractors get the money. They don't fix up the neighborhoods, right? There you go. You see that there? So you got it. And then you look around here. It's all messed up. See that there? You need to teach people how to fix them houses. That's what you need to do, and stop giving away our money to crony contractors. There you go. See that there? Reverend Jackson said, give me the jobs, not give me the money. There's a difference. When you teach a person, what's the saying? What's that old saying? That's how you know Brandon's a con artist, Brandon Johnson. He wants to fish. He don't want to learn how to fish. You got that, that old saying, right? Give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man how to fish, he eats forever, right? That's Brandon Johnson. That's the difference between him and Reverend Jackson, right? Johnson wants the check. And then he distributes the checks to his buddies, right? Now we're at a dead end here, huh? This might be dangerous at night. That's Brandon Johnson. Got it? He wants the check. He wants you to give him money. That's if you listen to every one of his speeches, that's the only thing he says. Give me money. Why aren't residents taught how to fix these buildings? Why are we always giving our money away to crony contractors that never invest in our communities? 5:20 p.m. February 17, 2026. How come local residents are not? And you can say, oh, that is investment. He's fixing the building. No, it isn't. That's capital, right? They're getting loans and banks. That's all a cycle of disinvestment. Everybody knows that, right? When you use bank money and you do all of that fancy financings and all of that, that's not economic investment. That's just a recycling. That's like inbreeding. You know what inbreeding is? When you don't mix with other races, right? That's the same thing.
Yeah, for the unit center, I got a gray Buick sedan heading southbound on Dan Ryan from Route Frank Henry. 11433 and straight still.
Look at this, how it looks out here, man. Look at this.
On the Ryan from Route, gray Buick sedan, Frank Henry, 11433, straight still. PH1.
We copy. Send a picture.
Alright, request a picture.
Just so you know, it has a sunroof, dual exhaust.
Sunroof and a dual exhaust.
There you go. You want to see how Chicago looks on the west side? There you go. A couple of blocks away from multi-million-dollar development, this is how it looks. So how does that multi-million-dollar development help this area? It doesn't. It does not help this area. All it is people and investors who get bank money. They pay connected contractors, right? And then those connected contractors pay each other in their own loan companies. And then the neighborhoods still look like this. They still look like crap, right? It's the west side area. And you ain't gonna see this on Madison Avenue. This is in back of Madison Avenue. You got that there? See that there? There you go.
09481. And for my blue line unit, progress and enjoy the whole blue line on the platform. Tail Blackbird, all black clothing, salty CTA worker. I got nothing.
Can I mobile with 5700 Adam?
Yeah, 5700 Adam for both.
Go for 5700 Adam. Was that vehicle local or express? That was on local import.
See people hanging around everywhere, right?
Southern Unit 22 in the citywide assessment in progress at Target 630 North and South. Shoplifter, male, wearing a camo jacket, gray hoodie, blue jeans.
See that, right?
Nothing further than this, sir.
That's a girl right there working. She's working right there.
Okay, 388. Here's 178, Adam, go ahead.
When you go a block or two away from the $1 million scam investments on the west side, this is how it looks in the neighborhood.
Yeah, never
5:25 p.m. February 17, 2026.
530. Edward. 783. Hold the red line, please. Yep, that is 09537.
They do drugs there. They do intravenous stuff there. They shoot up there. They put a blanket up there and they shoot up drugs right there in that little area there.
Units at 4 on the citywide battery on progress. 7 out in Avalon. 7 out in Avalon. Bus number 8467.
They're all walking in and out of the alley over there. They're all walking in and out. They're drugs and they do prostitution here.
7 after Charlie.
I have a number for Roosevelt Green.
Yep, that is 09580.
7386 David.
86 David.
Red line safe, Chicago Avenue.
Yep, that is 09582.
7383 Adam.
783 Adam.
Can I get one for 9050 per head?
Yep, that is 09587.
0373.
7373.
And number 69 for red.
That is 09619.
7394 Charlie.
79 for Charlie.
I have a number for Roosevelt Red.
Yep, that is 09626.
7386 Eddie.
86 Eddie.
Number, house, line.
Yep, that is 09646.
7387.
787.
Homie down at lunch with Adel and Boy and Lawrence and Harlem.
Alrighty, 09650.
You think a white neighborhood would look like this? You ever see a neighborhood look like this, even in an alley? Is it a white alderman or a black alderman that runs this ward? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is it a white congressman or a black congressman that runs this area? What do you guys think? Think it's a white alderman or a black alderman? Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Huh? Let's be honest with ourselves. You got that? Did you see how that look? See how that alley look? Yeah, I'll keep going here, man. You want to see? Is this normal that things look like this? Who does this? Does the white man do this or does the black man do this? The black man who gets paid every week, right? From the city, our taxes. Look at this. Look at how it looks back here. There's a black alderman, isn't it? Out here, look at how this looks. What does that have to do with color? What does that have to do with anything? That's an alley. It should be cleaned, right? Don't you see that? That dude's jacked up in front of us right there. You see that there? See how nasty and filthy it looks out here? You can say, oh, it's blah, blah, blah's fault. Well, no. There's an alderman that's paid to do this. There's a streets and sand guy that's paid to do this. That's a ward supervisor paid to do this. There's precinct captains. There's all kinds of people that are assigned to clean this place up. And they're not. I bet you most of them ain't white. Got that? Got that. There you go. You got abandoned cars. Oh, but you got a bunch of political signs there, don't you? There you go. Vote for me while I ruin your neighborhood. Our neighborhood. Yeah, there you go.
Just walk away. Can I get the event number for this, please?
Alrighty, that's 09674. 09674.
7383, Adam.
Go ahead, Adam.
How come the politicians who run this place leave it like this?
Domestic. Can we get that event number? And you could,
I usually do the local news, right?
Out of his vehicle, the man complied with officers' orders to drop the weapon. Police say it was loaded. He was carrying additional rounds, and a Kevlar helmet and gas mask were found in the car. Police now looking to establish some kind of motive. And it's been weeks now since the disappearance and suspected kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, but the search efforts aren't letting up. Local and federal law enforcement continue to study physical evidence and recover video from the scene for a possible connection to someone.
The FBI is analyzing male DNA found on a black glove recovered about 2 miles from her Tucson home. Investigators are trying to match it to DNA found inside the house. Law enforcement sources confirm investigators are using what's known as a signal sniffer in an effort to detect transmissions from Guthrie's pacemaker. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano says the entire Guthrie family and their spouses have been cleared, calling them victims in this case. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
There's harrowing testimony in Georgia from high school students injured in a deadly shooting back in September of 2024.
One student in the classroom that day remembers chaos. I looked down and I saw a hole in my shorts and noticed I was bleeding. Another says,
afterwards, I started to scream.
Prosecutors say Colin Gray should be held responsible for providing the weapon his son Colt used in the shooting that killed 4 and wounded others. Colin Gray is charged with 29 counts, including second-degree murder, and Colt Gray faces 55 counts, including murder. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Advent is now accepting new patients at 8 Chicagoland area locations. AdventKnows.com.
Another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best mover ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price will change for 5 years.
What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA and next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, it is the landing there. It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get the best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Now, the lowest gas prices from News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Sponsored by PackyWebFord.com. Packy Web will beat any competitor's auto show deal on any F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, or Transit. For details, visit PackyWebFord.com. In Bensonville, the beat.
News.
7388 boy. 4734.
4734, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
7383, boy.
780, boy.
Can I get a VIN number 79 for North Line?
Alright, 08691. Alright, I'll see here.
They do hookering here. Those are hookers there, right?
Perry, northbound to Perry from 95th. 6th District just had a vehicle take off of him that is stolen. It's going to be a white Kia Optima. 498-276. Occupied 4 times, all masked up. And the car is a straight steal out of Woodridge. Again, last seen northbound Perry from 95.
7373.
7373.
And number 69, red line.
Yeah, that is 08709.
387 Adam.
787 up.
Please give me the number for the blue line at Rosemont.
Yep, that is 08735.
7386 boy.
786 boy.
Parking lane, blue line.
Yep, that is 08746.
7386 Adam.
7867.
1 footer. Jackson in red, please.
Yep, that is 08753.
A lot of activity out here today. A lot.
7388 Charlie.
788 Charlie.
Yes, can we get a Clinton blue line test, please?
Yep, that is 08766.
A lot of activity. There you go. A lot of prostitution happening today out here.
3 David.
783 David.
You check your merchandise mark and I'll put it down on smoke emission with 7393.
All right, Timber. Your check is going to be 08777, and then the mission number will be 08780. 08780.
73898.
73980.
This is the number for Roosevelt Red Line platform.
Right, it is 08791.
737 Charlie. Blue line at Vine Post.
87 Charlie, that is 08798. 780 David.
Show us on car 7130 going westbound blue line for QIC.
Check, that is 088.
And those are all hookers. If you're wondering what that is, those are all hookers, prostitutes.
7944.
They're all
Let me
prostitutes.
get a red light check at St. Lake, please.
Yep, that is 08815. 08815.
That's 33 Charlie.
78 Charlie.
147 Red Line.
Yep, that is 08868.
7383 boy.
78 boy.
Why can I get a VIN number? 79 the red line.
Yep, that's 08882.
7387.
787.
I got a TPA service check on the converter and blue line.
Okay, that is 08886.
Yeah, I think.
Houston 8 Center, battery in progress. 3819 West 56 places 3819 West 55th. Closer to people finance inside the apartment. Nothing further. Zone 6 radio play.
7386 Eddie.
786.
Number, hour in the red line.
Yep, that is 08900.
7383 Edward.
783.
Frozen in the red line, please.
Yep, that's 08912.
What's gonna do it?
Units in 22 in the city, getting a battery progress. 93rd Halsted 93rd near Bacon Lot. Car sees a male wearing a white gray camo pink hoodie.
Fighting with the female who appears to be nude. Female started hitting the male half with a rape. Nothing further.
Nude female on the street.
7387 Charlie, number please, Jefferson Blue Line.
87 Charlie, it is 08927.
7388 boy.
7388 boy.
Yes, if I can get a number for Medical District Blue Line, please.
Yep, that is 08941.
7384 Charlie.
784 Charlie.
Stormwater vent over at Roosevelt Red Light, please.
Yep, that is 08962.
08962, 10-4, thank you.
7362.
73862.
Number for Roosevelt Maria.
Yep, that is 08968.
Come on, brother.
7389 Eddie.
789 Eddie.
Can I get the number for Cermak Station Red Line?
Yep, that is 08976.
7341.
These blocks are messed up, man. These are all boarded up houses here.
Yep, that is 09020.
Can you look at color what our event for gas was?
Sure. Gas was 07885. 07885.
That's what they do.
You're welcome.
382 David.
782 David.
There for 35th Red Line.
Yeah, that is 09027. 09027.
233 and units in 3 and citywide. We have criminal trespass in progress, 4554 South Drexel. Security officer Carter called, said that a female black wearing a red hat, black clothing, jumped fence and is trespassing. She's probably in unit 1004. No further. 7, District 2, clear.
7383 Adam.
783 Adam.
91 for 96 Maria around the turnstile.
Yep, it is 09051.
312 units in 3 and citywide. We have a battery in progress. 7225 South Evans, floor 2. Caller Harry says that that mom and dad is fighting. Father has a knife, but he put it down. Male is intoxicated, black clothing, drives a black Infiniti truck. Female is Sydney, and the offender is still on scene. No further details. Zone 7, District 3, clear.
7388.
738.
Number for Station 10 Blue Line Peoria, please.
Yep, that is 09075.
7387 Adam.
787 Adam.
Please give the number for the Blue Line at Jefferson Park.
Yep, that is 09109. 09109.
Units in 3 and citywide. We've got a person with a gun, 6837 South Richland, floor 3. Tanisha called, said her ex-boyfriend, Benjamin Allen, put his hands on her. No alcohol or drugs. There is a gun in the offender's game room, and he has threatened her with it. No further details. Zone 7, District 3, clear.
7383 boy.
783 boy.
Can I get a VIN number? 79's in the red line.
Yep, that's 09154.
7386 boy.
786 boy.
Clark and Lake at the Blue Line.
That is 09157.
7394 boy.
794 boy.
Let me get a red light check at Jackson Street.
Yep, that is 09162.
738 Eddie.
786.
Number Howard on the red line.
09164.
7386 Adam.
786 Adam.
Event for Jackson and Blue, please.
Yep, that is 09167.
14.
383 Charlie.
786 Charlie.
One from 47, Mr. Mayor.
Alright, that is 09189.
So 24 units informed on the citywide getting a person the gun, 2007 West Adams, apartment 304. Within Candace says she's in the parking lot. Domestic related, child's father struck her with a gun. The offender's a male, black, blue Timberland hoodie, blue work pants. Fled into 220 South Damon on the second floor, 12th District, Zone 3.
We're caught up on our radio calls. So you see, there's a lot of activity out here, right? Yeah, they are. No, nothing happening here. And that's a shame. We're spending so much money, putting so much energy. You start to wonder why. Why does these places still look like this? It's simple. You're not providing the opportunity for these individuals to fix this stuff. You keep paying them and paying others rather than figuring out what's needed here and keep providing those opportunities so the person can figure out what they need to do. They start fixing the stuff, and then they get either out of this neighborhood if they want to get out of the neighborhood, or they stay here and create a business and build their families here. It doesn't matter, but that's what we need to be doing. That's why it looks the way it does. Everybody, look, 3 years in power, and this is how it looks. And then Biden was in power for 4 years, right? So you start to look at it and you start to wonder, like I showed you those alleys there. My videos aren't uploading on the Facebook for some reason. I don't know why. I got a whole bunch of videos I made today. I think I'm going to cut it short today and probably cut back to my place. Something's going on with all my phones. They're not working right. And the idea has to be is if this looks like the way it is, and we just had a Biden president, right, for 4 years. Obama was president before that, right? And Trump was in the middle of it. And now we have a black, supposedly nationalist mayor for 3 years. You figure this place should be spick and span clean. It should be the top of the notch. You know, you got top of the notch political signs here, right? You got a lot of political signs that say, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. Well, we vote for them, and then what happens? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Vote for me, I look like you. Vote for me, I talk like you. Vote for me, I'm going to take their money and give it to you, or I'm going to redistribute it, right? Isn't that what Brandon's party is, right? They're the redistributions, right? They're Marxists. Well, they're not really redistribution people. They're more Marxists. They want to have a low class and then a technocrat class, right? They want to have the servers and the oppressors, right? That's the philosophy they believe in. That they believe Brandon Johnson's party, the People's Liberation Party, the PLP, believes there should be no leaders except them. And everybody else is subservient to the leaders. There's the Kampuchea style, right? You know what Kampuchea is, right? Cambodia. That's their style of politics. The Marxists that are, you know, communism and Marxism, Maoism, Leninism, Stalinism, all of that. That's all different parts of communism. And you know what? You can say, I hate them all. Well, okay, that's fine. That's all right. You have your own opinion. But I'm trying to explain how this operates. The people that are running our city today, they're the ones that are like from Cambodia. That's their philosophy. No one should have nothing, because when you have something, you're unequal. Except us that run it, we get to have stuff because we need to have stuff because we're running this stuff. That's their philosophy. You got that? Everyone should be poor, working in the rice fields or in a factory. You should have just the minimum to survive. The leaders need to have more than the minimum. There's two things. They need to lead and they need to have more. Secondly, they need to understand what it is that harms the working class, right? So we need to have the cigarettes, the candies, the alcohol, right? There's abandoned buildings all around it. It was just a shooting over here, wasn't it? A crashing and a shooting over here I covered. So that's their philosophy, right? That's the people that are running the city today. That's the party. That's the political party of the Marxists, Maoists, communists, whatever you want to call it. Yes, communism is a lot. Like Muslims, there's a lot of Muslims in Islam, right? There's Christianity. There's a lot of Christians in Christianity, right? Same thing with communism. Same thing with Maoism, right? There's a lot of them, right? There's a different types, right? The guys that are running the city today, they want everybody to poor, and that's why you see it like the way it is. Because you think, well, there's a black mayor. He believes in black power, he says. And he's going to fix everybody. We've been giving him a lot of money. He's been spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. But then when you drive down the west side, and you're like, wow, there's prostitution, there's drug dealing. And that's a vice. You're not going to get rid of that. We talked about that yesterday, right? It's something that to be managed. So you can say, well, that's forever, John. You're never going to get rid of prostitution, drugs, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. And then what did I do today? I drove in the alley and said, look, this is how it looks back here. And there's people who are paid to take care of this, and they're not taking care of their jobs. When you seen that debris in that one alley, and we drove in the other alley, that's somebody's job. There's somebody paid to do that. And in most cases, those are black people that are paid to take care of that. There might be a couple of white guys and Hispanic people, maybe some Asians, right, that are hired in this area to do work or whatever, that work for the city, right? Civil service people. But the elected people are mostly black. And they leave their own neighborhoods that they represent looking like that. Like what I said, would a white neighborhood look like that with those white people in Fulton Market or wherever they are living or whatever they do? Do you think they would tolerate that? That their elected politician, the Red Burnett, it's not Walter anymore, Walter Burnett, that used to run Fulton Market over there in that area, think they would let that to be like that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the question then becomes, is it the politician doing bad, or is it the people that are living there allowing the bad things to happen? You kind of get it? That it's like the chicken and the egg. It really doesn't matter because we see it, right? You just seen it today, right? You've seen all of that today. You just seen something that looks horrendous and horrible. Horrendous and horrible. And it shouldn't be like that because it isn't like we're poor. It isn't like we don't have the people working here. Now I think we're in Cicero, right? So you see how this looks? There's this, what, 2-3 blocks away. It's 2-3 blocks away, and Cicero is a suburb. It's got less money than Chicago, and look how it looks here. See the difference? You can say, oh, it's this, it's that. No, it's the people who run it. It's like your house when you have kids. You can let your kids run your house. That's usually not a good prescription for something that functions properly, right? Because kids don't understand how to run stuff. Some might be sophisticated, some might be mature. But in the end, it's the adults who run the house, right? You guys, we buy the food. We pay the bills. We keep it safe. We try to keep it clean. We try to do the things that are the best to keep our families healthy, strong, and being able to survive once they leave our households, right? In a safe place to stay, right? To go have dinner, to rest, to relax. So when you drive through that type of neighborhood and then you drive through this type of neighborhood, you got to say, well, what's the difference here? You can say, oh, it's the residents. It's the residents. No, it's not. It's not the residents. It's the people who run it. It's the people who run it. In fact, Chicago per cap has more money than Cicero would have per cap, right? Per little area. So then you start to wonder, wow, we spend all that money, all those billions, and our neighborhoods look like that. That's pretty bad, isn't it? That's real bad. So we got to start thinking about that, how to correct those problems. It's called the red dot theory. That's Ed Deming. He's a quality control guy. He kind of invented quality control. Helped Japan rebuild after the war, too. Let's hear some radio calls if we missed anything, right? We might have. Yeah, I think we missed a few here. Let's get back to the radio calls. That's too far back. We'll go about right there. See what we missed.
He might be pulling over by a prairie. Actually, yeah, he might be trying to park on prairie.
I've tried to park at a prairie. Not for it.
He turned southbound out the prairie. He pulled over right away.
I was going to say, I think there's a tag car at him. Yep, tag car's right at him. All right, again, prairie just south of 470 has pulled over. Tag car's in contact with him right now.
$7388 Charlie.
788 Charlie.
We get a VIN number for lunch at Adams and Halsted.
Number, that's 09982. Marine Unit Headquarters. Marine Unit Headquarters. Marine Unit Headquarters on Cityway 1.
Unit Headquarters, what?
Hey, good afternoon. Info for you on the box. This is a threatening suicide down at 63rd Street Beach. The sister was threatening to jump in the water or drive her vehicle into the water. She did FaceTime the sister and confirmed that she is there on the beach right now. She's been drinking and is off her meds for bipolar. It should be a female wearing all black. Thanks. You got a couple laying units en route right now.
83 Adam.
783 Adam.
Can you go down the left side?
Yeah, where are we going?
60.
Alright, that works. Let me know when you land.
4734.
4734.
Can I get a homeland number for 11 and 10 North Spring?
That's works.
5426 Frank on Citywide 1.
5426 Frank.
Yeah, Squad, if you could please hold me down going to 250 Cortland Avenue in Lombard.
50 Cortland Avenue in Lombard. 10 for it. That'll give you 10017. 10017.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Units in 3 and Citywide. First one with a gun, 68 Stony, 6800 South Stony. Several male blacks are loitering in the strip lot. One of them has a gun. It's a male black. He's short in height, wearing a green jacket, blue jeans. District 3 is on 7.
4755.
55.
Good evening, Squad. Citywide K9.
Good evening. Marine Unit Headquarters.
Go ahead.
Clive, you can show M12 and M60 responding.
Tough one.
M is the Marine Unit. M is Marine Unit. PH is police helicopter.
K9, Citywide.
City units in 1 Citywide in assault in progress at Roosevelt, Michigan. Michigan and Roosevelt at the southbound bus stop. Devontae says that there's a male at the bus stop threatening to tase him. It's a male black in a blue and pink hoodie. Have nothing further. First District Zone 4.
There we go. We're caught up on our radio calls, right? a real industrial area still, huh? Out here in Cicero, right? We're in Cicero now. I think we're across into Chicago now.
Adam.
84 Adam.
Can I get an upper and lower for Roosevelt?
Well, I can give you one. It's 10093. 10093.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and quite warm again. An elevated brush. Civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson has died at the age of 84. He inspired many around the country, including former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama. Together, they said in part that he created opportunities for generations of African Americans and inspired countless more with his activism. WBBM political editor Jeff Buckles has more reaction from current and former leaders of Chicago paying tribute to the late Reverend Jackson.
At Chicago City Hall,
Give us a moment to honor his passing.
Lakeview Alderman Bennett Lawson began a morning city council committee meeting with a moment of silence in Reverend Jackson's honor.
Thank you.
The statement from Mayor Brandon Johnson says in part that he is, in his words, devastated, and goes on to say the Reverend Jackson's friendship, counsel, and prayers have had a deep impact on his family. Back in December, the mayor talked about visiting Reverend Jackson after his discharge from Northwestern Memorial Hospital.
I was sharing with him that we're standing firm on the Rainbow Coalition that he helped build.
Former Mayor Lori Lightfoot reflected on their first meeting in his office at Rainbow Push more than a decade ago.
He could not have been more generous and welcoming, and that was really the basis of.
I want to show you guys something over here. Let me just
Presidential Chief of Staff
get my car ready.
Wherever the Reverend Jackson went, he made a difference, lifting voices, opening doors, and reminding America to live up to its promise. We're at City Hall. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9. WBBM.
A close friend is also remembering Reverend Jackson from marching together in protest of injustices to praying together at the end. Father Michael Flager has known the civil rights icon for about 50 years. The pastor of St. Sabina says Jackson used his voice to push for more diversity and opportunity.
You know, there were corporations that changed just by them knowing that Reverend Jackson wanted to come meet with them. Just the fear of him coming and knowing what he brought with them.
Father Flager hopes people honor Jackson's legacy by voting in the midterm elections this fall. In Aurora Police, they are saying an investigation into two shootings that happened within hours of each other is happening right now. Police say that first took place around 6 p.m. Officers are telling us that they actually heard the gunfire happening and located a home with bullet holes on the 1100 block of Bonner Avenue. No one inside was injured. Then, just after 9 p.m., gunfire was reported coming from two vehicles on Douglas Avenue near Melrose Avenue. Police say it started with an altercation between the drivers, then shots were fired, injuring juvenile passengers. One had to be airlifted to the hospital in critical condition. So far, no one has been arrested for either of these shootings. Governor J.B. Pritzker will unveil his budget plan for Illinois lawmakers in Springfield tomorrow.
With Illinois set to absorb massive federal funding cuts from the Trump administration, the governor is expected to present a more conservative budget for 2027 in his State of the State address to the General Assembly. Pritzker will outline his plan to balance a budget with a projected $2 billion deficit with a possible $4 billion tax package aimed at taxing the ultra-wealthy and corporations. The governor's 8th budget address comes as he seeks re-election for a 3rd term and a possible 2028 run for president. Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
The time now is 6:08. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. And here to tell us more about a stall on the outbound lanes of the Dan Ryan is Abby Ryan.
So Aurora is having problems with crime, huh? That's bad.
Well, we're actually going to come back to Abby in just
I gotta show you guys what's going on here.
Cloudy with some rain at times and perhaps
that's what I want to show you guys. That's what I'm getting ready to go show you guys.
It's going to turn out mostly sunny, breezy, and quite warm again. An elevated brush fire threat may develop as the breeze picks up and the ground dries out. We will have a high of 67 degrees, though, tomorrow with a low of 39. Currently at O'Hare Airport, it is 52 degrees. Midway is 55 degrees. Along the lakefront is 41 degrees. The time now is 6:09. It's becoming a buyer's market for recreational cannabis in Illinois, according to new figures from the state.
The average cost of an ounce of recreational cannabis at an Illinois dispensary has fallen from about $400 to $167 over the last 5 years. The Tribune reports revenue fell 13% last year, while the number of registered dispensaries and items sold grew. The paper attributes the lower revenue to competition from hemp and out-of-state sales. The state collected more money from taxes last year than ever before. Mayor Johnson cited concerns about hurting Black and Brown-owned businesses as a reason to veto a ban on intoxicating hemp last week. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at more news.
I want to show you guys something here. I don't know where to park, so my car don't get messed with.
Information delivered right to your inbox. Click on the Connect tab on WBBMNewsRadio.com and sign up today.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
I showed you guys this place before.
Well, I'll take this one. Do you speak to us? Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, we can't get the best number ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best
watch because there's somebody doing
5
something.
years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get
gotta watch around here.
for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored.
Are you ready to go see son?
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on there. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit quirky and maybe have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about
I'll show you guys something, okay?
Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-200-1966 or biglou.com.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here. Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring. Oh, girls, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now. JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20
Let me park off the sidewalk. The cops are starting to circle around me here. This is Cicero, by the way.
Just a couple things.
It's not Chicago. But let me show you this.
You know that big.
This is the border between Cicero and Chicago.
It doesn't clean as well.
I videotaped this before. I'll show you
I thought I
guys.
was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water.
Hopefully this is not too dangerous, but we'll see how this works out.
Let me make an announcement.
Something happens to me, call the cops. I think I'm in Cicero. This is 16th
Not
Street.
paying for watered down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
The time now is 6:13, and a Chicago family is renewing their plea for help in finding their loved one 3 months after his disappearance.
The family of 59-year-old Dan Davis is declaring this weekend Find Dan Day to expand the search nationwide for Davis, who was reported missing in late November. Family members say he was last seen on Bourbon Street in Blue Island, where he had worked for about 25 years. They believe he could have been experiencing a medical emergency the night he went missing. The family has set up a Facebook group called Find Dan Davis for updates on the search.
Ready to go see son?
And there's a new contest to honor the people who help children get to class.
Shut that out.
Chicago Public Schools has more than 600 crossing guards. They help kids get to school no matter what the weather is like. CPS wants to honor 4 of them with Crossing Guard of the Year awards.
Ready to go see son? It might be shocking, it might be dangerous. We'll see how this works out. Man, I'm on 16th here. I'm going into Chicago. I think that's Kilbourne over there, right? That's Cicero is over there. SubX.News on the spot reporting. It is messed up. You're gonna see this how it looks out there. Let me get my other camera here. Start selling drugs or something. I know that. Let me just give you the exact address and my location on my map, so if anything happens to me, you guys can call, give me some help, all right? I'll show you where I'm at. So I'm on 16th Street, and I'm going to go eastbound. You see that where I'm at? You see that there? That's where I'm at. Cicero is that way, but I'm going east, right? That's where I'm at. I'm going towards, I think I'm going towards Colomar, okay? That's where I'm going towards. All right, I'm going to show you guys what's out here, right? What time is it? It's 6:18. You ready to see something? Let's go. There's some people back there, so we're going to see how this works out. They might not like what I'm doing, but maybe I'll turn off this camera there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, like. Alright, whatever. We're going to do what we're going to do, right? That's their business, right? So it's about 6:20 p.m. I believe it's February 17th. We're on 16th Street. I think we're in Cicero, but we're going east towards Chicago. This is a viaduct here. I've seen this before. It's pretty bad here. You're gonna see this here, right? SubX.News on the spot reporting. So we deal with stuff in every place, and I just showed you guys the west side, right? And you're gonna see how it is over here, right? It's all burnt here. It's burned out, right? See that there? The thing is how come the governments let this happen, right? See that there? Yeah, this is a sidewalk, right? That's what you're looking at. It's a sidewalk, right? It's all burned out. All right. See that there? See that? All right. See, that's all burned out there. So then you gotta wonder, we pay all these politicians, why don't they clean this stuff up, right? What's up, my brother? How you doing, brother? I'm the SubX.News. I always say, why don't they clean this up? We pay all these government people, why don't they clean it up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, bro.
They make all the money. They make all the money. At least clean it. If you want to live here, that's okay, but they should clean it up, right? Take it easy. SubX.News, all right? Huh? Mucho dinero, no trabajo, right? Motherfucker cabrons, right? All right, take it easy, my brother. Now I'm trying to see, look at that. So it gets burned, but they don't clean it. You see that there? Yeah, lazy. Take it easy, my brother. So there you go, right? And you got the other side is messed up too. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through there. So again, we're on Colmar now on 16th. So what did I talk about on the west side? This is west. Right, we're still west. You got some nice, whatever this is, handicap, but you can't go through there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through that other side over there. So this is Colmar and 16. Let me show you this. Where I'm at. Colmar and 16. That's what's called corruption. Got it? There you go. Colmar and 16. Let me make sure you guys get it. Got a nice sidewalk here. Colmar, so now this is Chicago, right? Because there you can tell by the signs. So is it a dispute between the city? They don't fix that because it's in between Chicago and Cicero? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through that other side. We're going to see this, right? So the point is I don't know if I'm going to get through there. I don't think I'm going to be. But it's worse than, well, they're living on this side. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. And you see, it's all messed up. I think this is the city side, right? I don't think so. Can I get through there?